Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning to hear about the opportunities through our GEC contract. My name is Juan Pablo Prieto. I am the Director of Diversity Programs here at CTA. First, I want to thank Jamie and Chanel for putting this together, and to our infrastructure team for partnering with us on putting this model together to try and increase DBE participation on our GEC task orders. For those who don't know, we split the contract into two tiers to increase the opportunities for small and medium-sized firms, including 2 DBE primes. We are also assessing DBE goals on each task order so we can maximize DBE participation based on the scope of each project. We are proud to continue to bring the DBE community opportunities, even with the restrictions due to COVID-19. Please make sure to ask questions through the Q&A feature. We want you to get as much information as possible and to be in the best position to compete for work. Our projects are stronger when we have strong DBE participation. CTA is committed to creating opportunities for DBEs throughout all of our contracts, and diversity programs is your #1 advocate within the CTA. Do not hesitate to reach out to our team with any questions that you have. We are here to help. And with that, I will turn the presentation over to Jamie.
Thank you, Juan Pablo, and good morning to you all. And thank you for joining the GEC Meet and Greet, Meet the Consultants Outreach event today. Today's agenda is pretty brief. We'll spend the next hour talking about our small business programs, the GEC3 task orders to come. You will meet the consultants, which you all, I'm sure, are so eager to do. We'll have 3 short poll questions that we'll ask all of the attendees to answer, and then we will follow up with Q&A. We will kindly ask that you hold your questions to the end and/or feel free to enter it into the chat inbox before you forget them at the end. Again, my name is Jamie Neely. I am the manager of our small business development and outreach team here at CTA. I'm also joined by my colleague, Chanel Harmon. Chanel, if you would like to introduce yourself. Chanel, I think you're on mute, Chanel.
Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. I'm the coordinator for small business development and outreach for the diversity department at Chicago Transit Authority.
Thank you, Chanel. And together we are here to help support our small businesses in navigating through the CTA procurement processes. We do that by way of our small business programs, which include, most of you know, that we recognize that disadvantaged business enterprise, the DBE, which is governed by the U.S. Department of Transportation. We also extend workforce initiatives to support our small and large businesses to diversify not only their contractors, but also their workforce community. We support you all with resources, but also the labor individuals themselves and taking them through different programming to make sure that they're workforce ready for you. We also have a mentor protege program. We understand the value of the experience, the capacity, the networks and contacts of our larger primes, and how that can help support our smaller businesses in building capacity so that you all can perform on larger contract opportunities with CTA. And then technical assistance. We want you all to be very good at the craft or the business or product that you have, which obviously in this space is engineering. And we want to be a support to all other things business related, such that CTA contracting opportunities. Each of you are very different and your contracting strategies may be very different. And we support you in each of that uniqueness. Contract research, understanding what CTA buys, when we buy it. Are you looking at those buying plans as forecasting the opportunities out? What's currently being advertised? How do you market to the prime contractors? Leveraging events like this, where you're actually able to put faces to names and introduce yourselves. Do you have your capability statement ready to present to these folks? Just trying to bridge the contact opportunities between our subs and our prime contractors. We extend access to capital. Through our RPM Wash Floor Partnership, we have a quarterly building small business workshop that we talk about how to access the capital, but more or as importantly, we have the one-on-one advising sessions at no cost to help you actually source the capital. Such that year to date, we've placed over $4 million in capital to our small business community, and that was up to about 20 firms or so. And then lastly, just the education. Again, we want you all to be the experts at what you do and allow us to support you on all of those other things. With that, we have 2 upcoming events, one being our cybersecurity training webinar that's going to be held next Tuesday. We know that we've all kind of been forced into this virtual space and doing business online, and some of us were very prepared, but many of us were not. And so this conversation next Tuesday is going to talk about the basics of how to detect those cyber attacks or threats, but also how to protect your business. In addition to your stakeholders, most folks try to hack into the small businesses to try to gain access to the larger firms or larger stakeholders, which in this case would be CTA. So you want to protect us just as well. So that's next Tuesday. And then we also have our small business education series, which is an 8-week education program that meets Tuesday, again, for 8 weeks. And each week we cover a module of how to tackle or how to sustain a contract with CTA. So project management, budgeting, estimating, etc. And each class is taught by an industry leading expert and or prime contractor of CTA. If you wish to know or learn more information about that, feel free to contact myself and or Chanel. And then before we dive into what you all came here to hear about, which is the GEC task orders, as well as meeting those consultants, just a couple of housekeeping rules. We will kindly ask that you keep all of your phones on mute as you have done so thus far. Again, we ask that you hold your questions to the end or kindly put them in the chat box and we'll grab them and address all questions after the introductions of the consultants. I kindly ask that you oblige to the 3 polling questions, again, that will be held towards the end. And then lastly, the contact list for the consultants will be distributed after the event. So in the event that you do not capture all of the information that you need, we will be sending out a contact list for all of the tier 1 and tier 2 consultants. So again, thank you all for joining. And with that, I will be turning over to my colleague, Derek Belt, the Deputy Chief Engineer of Infrastructure.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for everybody for attending today. Yeah, I guess you already know I've already been introduced. I'm Derek. Nice to meet everybody. For those of you unfamiliar with the GEC3 contract, it stands for General Engineering Consulting. Basically anything that CTA engineering needs assistance on. It's a task order based procurement process with 2 tiers, one for projects over $20 million and one for projects under $20 million. Oh, well, that's a nice picture. Did somebody close out the slides mistakenly, Jamie?
I want that project.
Yeah, that's nice. There's also another one that probably falls outside of these 2 categories. It's the small business engineering, GEC specifically. Those are for projects, smaller projects to be taken on specifically by small businesses. And that is a separate procurement process from this, but it is out there. And here's a list of potential upcoming task orders that we have. So on the blue line, on the Congress branch, we're getting ready to do some track improvements, a new substation at Morgan, substation improvements at Hermitage, and a Racine station improvements project. Also on the blue line at the O'Hare branch, for For the Montrose station, we're looking to put in a new elevator and canopy replacements. At the Irving Park station, we have an escalator that needs replacing and some canopy replacement. The Harlem station, I think we're going to finally get to that bus bridge that's been nagging at us for the longest time. Looking forward to getting into that. Sorry, I'm trying to not answer my phone calls. Also on the Blue Line at the Logan Square branch, the California station, we'll be putting in a new elevator there. Blue Line on the Kimball subway, which is the Logan Square station, as part of the CDOT work that's going on there to straighten out the streets in that area. We're going to be doing some work on the stair enclosures and for the canopy modifications. Now that is going to be, can everybody still hear me? Just got a notification. Okay, I just got a notification my speaker wasn't working. So, or is that Jamie's maybe? I'm sorry.
I think you're good, Derek.
Okay, sorry about that. Moving on. The Logan Square Station project is a very small project, and it is borderline going whether it's going to be the tier 2 under 20 million, or if it might be small enough to be categorized in the small business specifically for the GECs there. So that one's kind of on the borderline there. The Green Line Lake Street branch, hopefully we'll do some track improvements again in the near future. Brown Line Ravenswood branch, we have Western Station improvements and Ravenswood substation improvements. And I can't see the last line on that slide. Am I the only one who can't see that? There was one more project.
It says system-wide traction power upgrades.
There you go. The usual traction power upgrades. We have those, seems like on an ongoing basis. And then this is moving on to who are our GEC consultants. Next slide, please. Jamie. Ah, there we go. This is a list of all of our GEC consultants that in the 2 different categories. Man, Jamie really wants to get done with this, doesn't she?
No, I promise you it's something on my end. Right now you should be able to see the list of consultants, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent. Thank you. Sorry. Right. So our larger project consultants consist of, oh wait, I'm supposed to also mention that all of the consultants as I go along will have a 3 to 5 minute time frame to introduce themselves and their company to everybody on the line here. So first on the list under tier 1 is Aecom. If Aecom would like to take a minute to talk.
I think I got the unmute button correct. Thanks, Derek. This is Stan Wang from Aecom. I want to thank everyone here for being on this session. I also want to point out that I've joined with Megan Benetatos and Beth McCluskey from my company. And, I think these are great events. I really think CTA and their leadership has done a great job in advancing inclusion and small business and DBE participation. Really are a leader in the industry, and really commend CTA for that. Personally, I admire everything that diversity programs has been doing to broker these conversations and to stay with it, to continue to keep these conversations going. I've heard myself many times from prospective partners at a company like Aecom, a very large multinational company, is like, well, how do I get to talk to who I need to talk to be able to work with you? We hear that very frequently. I also will admit that, locally in Chicago, we have held kind of a narrow band of frequent partners that we do business work with, and it has been tough for new firms to be able to break into that. So we're trying to change that, and and I think that these type of events are a great opportunity to be able to do that. And also just as kind of our core philosophy with Aecom, we are looking to do much more than the minimum in DBE participation and trying to be a leader like CTA in advancing that. Long story short, how does a firm go about teaming with us? As you can see, we have a lot of very tough competition in the industry. There's a lot of very, very good firms that are also going to be speaking after me. And, the number one thing is we have to be competitive in being able to form a competitive team that CTA will choose to select us. So that's really, first and foremost, number one is winning the job and putting the best team together to be able to do that. We're also obviously very concerned with executing that job effectively, which goes hand in hand with making our case for winning the job. So really our sole consideration in selecting partners for any given pursuit is who gives us the best chance to win and who's going to help us execute it effectively, and it's really nothing more than that. At Aecom we're always open to having conversations with prospective partners, diversity partners, small businesses. You can feel free to reach out to me or anyone else that's on the call, or even anyone within our organization. Even though we are a big company, the message does make its way up to, who you need to speak to. It just does take a little bit of time with our type of organization. If you are interested in a specific pursuit, it helps to talk to us early. And I think that would be the same with a lot of the other firms on here that are going to speak. Often we have our teams finalized or nearly finalized very shortly after the proposal has even been issued. We've been watching these things. I think that you're going to want to do your homework on being able to tell us, where do you fit in best with our team? And going down those lines, we have a lot of firms out there to consider with similarly strong qualifications. So being able to differentiate the reasons why your firm is better suited for a pursuit over your competition, that's crucial for being able to get on our team. And that could be, having a unique technical expertise, similar project qualifications, or even past history with the project that we're pursuing. After you've been selected, Aecom does have a few procedures that, we ask for from our partners to get them under contract and pre-qualified with their own internal procurement department. But those are usually handled after selection and, usually involve our review of your quality plan, as well as, certificates of insurance and things like that. So above all, I'd say, we're trying, we're listening, and, please have patience. So when these RFQs come out, we often get inundated with calls. So while we're trying to write the proposal, and we're also trying to manage our projects at the same time. So we do try to make an effort to get a response back to everyone who reaches out to us in the interest of teaming. And I think that's all I have to say, unless there's any specific questions. If I'll just hand it back to the next firm, and thank you for this opportunity to have this event and be able to speak.
Excellent. Thank you, Stan. Next up is EXP.
Good morning again, everyone. I'm Jeff Jakelski, Senior Vice President and Principal with EXP. One interesting component of our firm is our heritage company, Tang & Associates, began as an MBE and DBE firm in the city of Chicago. And so we know firsthand what it takes to be able to differentiate yourselves and become a valuable partner on project teams. To be able to have exposure to challenging and interesting projects like these, like the CTA has, that otherwise a smaller firm may not be able to have the opportunity to engage in. And also then through those projects to be able to grow. So we remember the lessons that we learned and those who reached out and helped us when we were starting out, and tried to do our part to continue that mentoring process with other firms throughout the city. We are a multidiscipline firm headquartered in Chicago. So while we can provide all disciplines on a project, we can also provide mentoring in all disciplines. And that's really the beauty of our firm organization for projects and contracts such as these. We have the expertise to be able to lend, to ensure that while we give our partners and subconsultants challenges, we also provide the mentoring and the technical support to be sure that nobody gets too far over their skis and gets into a situation where it's challenging to get out of. We see both the opportunity and the obligation to provide and give a little back to the community and provide mentoring opportunities to help firms that really want to get involved in these projects to grow and to learn and to become better and stronger. We've been doing a lot of work with the CTA, and so we've engaged certainly many firms, many that are a part of this, and we've met many of you through events such as this. Well, none have been like this. They've all been in-person opportunities. But certainly commend CTA, and I'm glad to see that even with the challenging times here, that we still found a way to make this happen, because we've certainly found them valuable. We do work with many of the same sub-consultants, you know, project after project, year after year, but we are always looking to meet new people. And our current GEC contract that we hold, that we were pre-qualified for, does include both firms that we've worked with in the past, as well as some new firms that, that we met through these events, that we are very excited at the opportunities to engage them and find out what they've got, what they can bring to the table, and how we can work together. Because at the end of the day, we know that a project will only be successful based on the strength of the team. So we start putting the teams together at the stage of the pre-qual for the GEC, but are always open-minded. It's never too late to get in touch with us and let us know who you are. Whatever discipline you offer, I think everybody that participates in these projects knows all of the components that it requires to complete a project like this. And so there's room on all the teams for any disciplines. Getting in touch with us is easy. Call me. I also have on the phone with us today, Amy Frankowski and Barry Singer. They are also resources and people to touch base with. But we want to know a little bit about you if we don't already. And it's a pretty straightforward process. We'll look to find room, see where you can contribute, and how we can together make the project a success.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. Next up is Hntb.
Hey, good morning all. Mark Becker with Hntb. Just like Stan and Jeff said, thank you very much, CTA, for hosting these events. I think these are great events. I do miss the surroundings we had the last one. It was a cool building we were in, and it's sad that we're on the phone and on video this time, but I do miss that building. I am currently the main contact for our CTA pursuits. On the phone with me today is Joanna Luttrell. She is our RLE program manager, and she'll be stepping into that role as our CTA main contact person. Jim Shupai is also on the phone. He's our lead person for this GEC design contract. Any of us you can reach out to, or I think to Stan's point, you can reach out to anybody at Hntb, and the word will get to us that you'd like to meet with us. Just a little background on Hntb for those of you who don't know who we are. We're a 100-year-plus old firm, founded in 1914, 4,000 employees nationwide, 180 here in Chicago. We're an employee-owned firm, so every one of our employees is a employee owner. Our focus is purely on transportation, highways, transit, tolling, aviation, and we provide a full realm of services from planning through design, through construction management, through architecture and program management. Done a lot of work for CTA in the past that we're proud of, and we appreciate the opportunity to work with you. To Stan's point, there's a lot of firms in the Chicago market. So don't just reach out to us in an email and say, hey, I want to be on your team for this RFP, because it doesn't differentiate you. Be proactive. Contact us early. Tell us where your areas of expertise are, where you want to grow, the roles you're interested in. We'll meet with you pretty much anytime, any place, so you can introduce yourself, or when you have changes. We're more than willing to do that. We actually look forward to those meetings. It teaches us some things and helps us to be better focused on our clients. Our approach to teaming and subcontracting is we like to bring people in as more as partners. We want to understand what you want to accomplish. And we want to make sure that the roles we're providing for you are meaningful roles. They're roles that match, where you want to grow. They're roles that match how you want to grow, and they're roles that match where your expertise is. Basically, our goal and philosophy, it's we want to create a win-win-win. We want you guys to succeed. We want to succeed, and we want to see our client, in this case CTA, exceed. And again, it's important to understand what you want to accomplish so you can succeed, and it's important to understand how that fits into our pursuit. And I think the other key message, and Stan hit on this again, was just, contact us early if you hear of something or you know of something. Contact us early, because at the time that the RFP gets out and we're working on it, we're very focused on responding, and by then we pretty much know the skill sets we need and who we want to have on the team and how it's going to work. Look forward to meeting some of you and working with you, and that's all I have, Derek. Great,
thank you, Mark. Next up is T.Y. Lin.
Hey, thanks, Derek. And actually, thanks all just for Derek, Jamie, Juan Paulo, the diversity team at CTA. Again, I kind of just want to say that these are very important, and just to set up and for you guys to host this, for us to give an opportunity to kind of present a little bit about T.Y. Lin, but also hope to make some connections that we can get to know a little bit more about your individual firms offline. So again, thanks for the opportunity to kind of introduce myself and T.Y. Lin. First, I guess my name is Dan Drew. I'm the unit manager of T.Y. Lin Chicago. So I took over this position about the beginning of the year, about February, though I've carried several roles for the CTA, from a designer, PM, project engineer over the years. My predecessor, actually, Paula Pianton, had moved now to the national, and you may have worked with her a little bit, but she moved to a national position with our transit and rail line of business, but is still certainly very much involved with our local operation and part of our T.Y. Lin Chicago management team. So, in fact, she's currently running the preliminary engineering effort for the CTA's RLE right now. So, I think any chance she gets to work for the CTA and T.Y. Lin Chicago, she kind of jumps at the choice. So we're very much part of the same team. So just a couple of quick notes on T.Y. Lin International, just as a matter of summary, or summarizing our group. Full service professional engineering firm. We design and construction services for projects, everything from transit and rail, surface transportation, all the complex structural, vertical facilities, aviation. We're talking about transit and rail here, and I'll get to that in a second. While we're based out in San Francisco, with our new CEO, Matt Cummings, moving to Chicago, kind of the center of gravity for the company has really shifted to the Chicago operations. And it's been a great opportunity for us and, great for our group locally, just to see how the organization kind of structures, so we have access to kind of a larger bench of resources kind of outside our Chicago market. So, and while T.Y. Lin International is, in some parts of the U.S. and the world is known for like the big long span bridges, Bay Bridge, Hoover Dam, et cetera. While those are, a big part of our business and our brand, they're actually not so much of the big, percentage of our big book of work. Transit and rail has always been a large part of our Chicago operations, but across the country, transit is really a large piece of our book of work. From coast to coast. So, and with that, not only our local talent resources, but also resources throughout the country. So, and then bring it back to just here locally, we've really had an opportunity to work on some of the great projects for CTA over the years, from Dan Ryan Red Line reconstruction, Ravenswood Loop Connector track, RPM PE, various substations along the way. And then our current assignment, the Red Line extension preliminary engineering effort. So, and actually many of these projects we've worked with many of you, not only in some way or another, the panelists, but also a lot of the firms, listening into this webinar. So, and so getting to kind of our approach on how we kind of craft or tailor our teams, I think I'd probably summarize it in maybe 3 points. One is our teams are tailored to match like the right experience with the specific scope of work. So delivery is everything. So getting kind of the right people and the right kind of the right seats on the bus, if you will, is of most important. Second piece is the expectation is that we all deliver as a coordinated team, not just a collection of pieces or consultants. So once we kind of cohesively, kind of join up as a team, the expectation is that we're all kind of moving as one unit forward. And the point being that then if we're looking at new consultants or, new partners for various aspects of the projects, it's important that we do get to know you guys ahead, know your people and your level of experience and your firm experience, so we all have that comfort level to get you on the team so we're kind of ready to go on day one. And then lastly, really, and I know as I think mentioned by some of the others, that we really focus on like mentoring our teammates throughout the project delivery. And it's not just on the technical side to increase kind of the overall technical proficiency, but also just like how CTA does business, like making sure that the expectations of CTA are really translated, to the rest of the group. And really we look for opportunities to introduce new firms to the CTA. I think the bigger bench of kind of talent that that's available to the CTA to deliver their projects, I think is important for the industry and for the CTA. And then lastly, and certainly but not least, is a strong concentration in diversity. I think our teams are infinitely stronger if the more diverse that they are. So that is our commitment. And with that, I think I'll turn it back to the host here, and then any other questions. And certainly we look for the opportunities for you guys to reach out. We do the offline meet and greets to make sure that we can have a connection before we go into some sort of teaming arrangement. So thanks, Derek. Yeah, turn it back to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. Next up is WSP.
Watching me move around, the guy started cutting the yard in the back. So I'm Tanya Adams with WSP, and I am our Vice President for Diversity and Community Relations. And we also have Chris Ferguson, who is our Transit and Rail Market WSP. We're a full service engineering firm, over 10,000 employees across the U.S. We're locally dedicated, but we have international skills and set people across the world who can help us on projects. The key thing about getting to work with WSP, everyone has said it, is getting out there early before RFP hits, coming in and meeting with us. It's great to go to a table and hand us your brochure, but it's setting up those one-on-ones. And now is a great time. Everyone's at home, they're available, they're not traveling. But the key thing for our DBEs is to know that you guys are our DBE partners. We are partners in this. We're wanting to give you lead roles. You have expertise in areas that we may not have. So making sure that we're partnering with you and you're getting the best out of the job. Starting from the beginning, sitting down with you and getting to see what skill sets you have that are strong, that you can take the lead on. What skill sets you want to learn. What backyard functions you want to get out of the project. We're all here to help you, from our regional leader, Joe Wilhite, to our area manager, Paul Lodi, to Phil Pastrak, and especially to Chris Ferguson, who is actually our market sector lead for Transit and Rail. We're all available and here. And the most important thing for WSP is inclusion, diversity, equality, and equity. We want to make sure our partners are getting the most out of the project and that you are valued. And we know that we need you. We know that you have skill sets and you bring a diversity to how we go after a job and what jobs we go after. So with that, I want to turn it over to Chris for a few minutes. Chris is having a little difficulty, so you'll just hear his voice and see my face. Chris? Christopher? I think we might have lost Chris. Well, if you need anything, you can reach out to any of us. We'll have all our contact information for you, and maybe before this is over, Chris will be able to pop back on. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Tanya, was it?
Correct.
Excellent, thank you very much. Next up, we go to our Tier 2 group, starting with Epstein.
Good morning, my name is Ryan. I am the Business Development Manager at Epstein in the public sector. I apologize if I'm a little scratchy. I just joined the Epstein team within actually like my second week. So I'm excited to be in this role, and I'm excited to speak with all of you. Epstein is a full-service, multidisciplinary architectural firm. We could do everything from architectural, master planning, to engineering, civil, MEP, fire protection, and structural engineering services. But that doesn't stop us from partnering and providing opportunities to diverse MBE, WBE, VBE, DBE firms. Where we ask for our sub-consultants not only to be qualified and competent, but we also ask them to be competitive and aggressive. I would prefer a partner to come to me before the notice of intent is even issued, if possible, so that we could really outline our strategic plan and how we're going to conquer an RFP or an RFQ. Because I am new to the AE side, I'm eager to meet all our potential partners. I believe strong-heartedly in diverse partnership. My background is I used to work with a MBE general contractor, so I'm always pushing for strong and true diverse partnerships. I would be the contact with Epstein for future CTA or any other public sector partnerships. And I look forward to working with you all in the future.
Great, thank you. Ryan, was it?
Yes.
Excellent. Good to meet you. Welcome to Epstein.
Nice to meet you too.
Next up is Benish.
Thanks, Derek. And thanks again for everyone taking the time to listen in today. For those of you who may not know, I am Andrew Keeshaw with Alfred Benish & Company. As of, I think like last week, I'm not sure internally, but I am the new Illinois Division Manager. For those of you who may be saying, what happened to Elizabeth Gallagher, who I know was certainly wonderful. She is now the Great Lakes Regional Manager in charge of a little more area. So I will be Benish's contact for this contract. A little bit about Benish. We were founded in 1946, so looking forward to celebrate our 75th year anniversary next year. Hopefully by then it will not have to be quite as socially distanced of a gathering, but who knows where we'll be in 2021. We do have over 100 engineers in our Chicagoland area that are all focused on transportation related infrastructure. Again, kind of a full breadth of disciplines there. We have offices in Chicago and Naperville, but a bulk of our engineers are in the Chicago office. Something that's, certainly unique to CTA in the city of Chicago is we take a lot of pride in understanding those urban constraints. It's certainly very different, working in Chicago in very close proximity and all the unique challenges that are there. So I think that's something that is, highly relevant to a lot of the CTA projects. And a lot of people on this list, certainly understand it. And a lot of people in the audience understand that as well. As shown here, we do have a tier 2 GEC contract. I had a list of bullet points, as I'm sure everybody else did. For the sake of time, I'll try not to, repeat them, but some I will repeat for the sake of reinforcing it. Stan started it off with competition. I mean, in Chicago, the consulting industry is highly, highly competitive. And that's great. I think it makes us all sharper. We all learn from each other, even when we don't want to admit it. But that means, the margin for a successful pursuit is very small, I haven't been on the other side of the fence, but, I'm guessing a lot of us have been in on debriefs, and Derek is shaking his head. That's good to hear. So you're not lying to us in debriefs, right, Derek? We know there are a lot of teams that can do this. So it's where are we adding value? So then that goes to naturally transitions to the next step of how do we find our teaming partner? And to echo everyone, it's all about the project. What's best for this project because those margins are small, who adds value to the project and specifically what detail? Drilling down a level is going to make us more interested in continuing to engage with you and obviously being in advance. The industry does a good job as this event and various other road builders events. We kind of generally all have an idea of what's coming, and that provides the opportunity to be in touch. And obviously, our pursuits, similar to everyone here, are targeted to the project. So that's kind of what we're trying to answer most. You know, and another thing is, you know, kind of workload and availability of key personnel. We understand there is a program now. It's a question we're starting to ask a little more often. We certainly understand that all the firms here have key personnel that are leveraged in a variety of different ways. So it's just something we want to, you know, kind of make sure we're honest in those discussions, you know, with each other. And we certainly understand, you know, on the DBE side that you're also trying to sell your firm, and we get that, and we respect that. We want to know that, but the best into a meeting, the best chance for success is coming in with a targeted project. Say, hey, we know this project is coming up, and it's a great project, and we've got these people that know the project, and we can add value for these specific components of that. Now you've got our attention very much. You know, that's not to take really anything away from the, you know, these are our IDOT pre-quals or our CTA pre-quals or our City of Chicago. It's not to take anything away from the general, because that's very valuable as well. But that goes into, I'm sure we all have the list of general things we want to get to. You know, everyone's pretty busy. So if it's in the general pile, it's not that it's not good. It's just sometimes the general pile has a hard time making it up to the top. So to just to add a different perspective on reinforcing the project specific pursuit. Another note I had here that kind of dovetails on, you know, how busy a lot of us are, and is don't be afraid to ask, you know, hey, do you know who will be your lead for this pursuit? Because, you know, with the advance notice that's put out there, we typically do assign, okay, this person's going to be in charge of digging. You know, and it may be really good to get yourself in front of that person to sell the quals, because their recommendation on the overall team will be considered, you know, quite a bit in terms of the final decision. That would also give you a chance to, you know, increase the breadth of individuals you would know within a specific organization. So not sure I added a lot, so I'll try to be brief, but that's my piece, Derek.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew. Next on our list here is CDM Smith.
Yep, it's Chris Martell. Thanks, Derek. So CDM Smith is a full service, like many of these other firms, full service AE firm, employee owned, 5,000 employees. I'm on the phone today, Senior Vice President out of our Chicago office, joined by Ben Harbour, who's a Senior Project Manager, also out of our Chicago office. And both of us have worked on CTA projects for quite a while. I've been working on CTA projects for my entire career, 25 years, doing a variety of different things. So we have a wide range of projects that we've done for the CTA and different contract mechanisms that we work under in addition to GEC. So I say that because I think we're always looking for partners, not just on our GEC contracts, but we also find a lot of the benefits on the Gpc side of things when we're working on planning projects. That's just preliminary engineering in some aspects, in some ways. So we have a lot of partners that cross the boundaries of GEC and other contracts. So also want to mention that we do work across the country like many of these other firms. So if you connect in with our Chicago office and do good work, we're always happy to bring you on in other areas, other parts of the country. So, or if you have statuses and experience in other parts of the country, definitely bring that up when you meet with us. Again, appreciate CTA doing these events. We were working on our Harlem job. We had one of these events a couple years ago, and we were doing some structural issues and found a forensic structural firm out of this meeting and or a similar meeting. And also we had some drainage issues in the under drain system there, and found a great sewer video firm. And so it's, you know, I will say, as much as folks send us information, you know, always check in, because, you know, you just never know what the needs are that time of year or that year or next season. So, so again, thanks for doing these events. They're always great. Our thing with DBE participation, again, others have said this, is just, it's meaningful participation. I mean, we're not looking to just put you on and get a goal. It's to do good work and come up with some added value to provide our clients. I will say good delivery of work is the most important criteria for us in terms of, you know, we're here to help and support you. and provide advice and oversight. But certainly it's, making sure that we're not late because of you and we're not delivering poor quality work. So we again, win-win-win, as Mark said earlier, we want to make sure it's a success for all of us. So, but in addition to meaningful participation, we really believe in long-term relationships. So again, we've been working with a number of DBEs for over a decade for doing CTA work. So again, the key to that long-term relationship is doing good work and providing value. So we're very diverse, as I said before, not just in our contracts for CTA, but also in our staff. We have 125 folks sitting in our Chicago and Lisle offices. Both offices help us deliver our CTA work. And we have architects, structural, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, fire protection, geotechs, the water, wastewater, stormwater, etc. So when we look for DBEs, it's again something that is someone who's again providing value. We're flexible in what we need. We don't always need to get a structural firm or electrical firm or whatever it may be, or an architect. We have the resources to do it, but it's two things. One is it allows us to mix up the firms that we work with, but it also allows us to do oversight. So early on in the project, during the proposal stage, you're paired up with one of our senior persons of a similar discipline that you're doing to make sure that we're all in agreement with the work that's being done and so forth. So we do complete reviews of all the work at every major submittal, so out of our local office. So that's a big deal for us. We want to make sure everything's a success here. For the GEC jobs, we've done the Harlem Yard is at 90% design. It's a washer and a building addition and a big yard project. We've done some bus garage work at a number of different buses on the fueling side and the maintenance bus fueling and bus storage areas and things like that. Roofs, life safety improvements at 20 some odd facilities. We have an environmental engineering contract as well. We've held that for a number of years and done a variety of work, civil, environmental. It's not just site investigations, it's also drainage and stormwater at some of the maintenance facility sites and things like that. So in addition, we have GPC contracts where we are looking at capacities on the blue line and brown line and looking at engineering projects that need to be done in order to improve the capacity in those on the lines or in the system. So in addition, we're again a program manager underneath Hntb on the red line extension, do other things with our architecture group, like the red line extension video that was just released recently. So you do a wide variety of work. So I guess the point of all that is that encourage, regardless of what your discipline is, to reach out to Ben or I and talk through the opportunities and expertise you guys offer. So that's it. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Next up is Facet.
Hi, Derek. Hi, everybody. Thanks. I'm going to substitute for Sunish Matthew, who's having some technical difficulties. I think he's actually signed in, but I don't think he has audio. That's well. But again, thanks very much. And for us, first of all, we want to reiterate that everyone, all the primes, that what they're saying is true and honest and to the point. Because quite frankly, we're a DBE. We're a DBE in 21 states, and we're an MBE in 5 cities around the country. And we're actually beneficiaries of the advice that they're giving right now. We take it to heart, and we've learned a lot from them. We've learned a lot how to market, how to look at projects, analyze projects, foresee issues. And we have very strong relationships and working relations with a lot of the folks that are here. And a lot of stuff is really good advice, and it's good to, quite frankly, reiterate it to us. It's never too old to hear. We, as I said, that we work actually around the country and doing and traction power and a DBE, but we're also looking for partners, DBE partners, to put together a very strong DBE team as well. as work with them in other markets, not only CTA, and thanks for the CTA for facilitating this, but this is not only right for the CTA, this is opportunities elsewhere. So, you know, I'm not going to take away from, I'm going to, you know, really bow out here because a lot of good advice is coming from these primes that are here today. But again, we're also looking, and please reach out to us because we're looking for relationships as well to develop stronger teams in CTA market as well as others. Thanks, Derek.
Excellent. Thank you, Oren. Next up is Lochner.
Yes, thank you, Derek. This is Matt Shelton with Lochner. Dan Herring, sorry he could not make it today, something came up. We are a 70-year-old firm, has deep roots in Chicago. That's our headquarters, and that's where we started. We've done a good mix of CTA work, and I guess I'm looking to get this kind of quick and be fair and equitable time to those following. So I'll run through a few things we've done and what we can offer and look into teaming. We've done both design, build, and design CTA RPM projects, GEC projects, North Main Line. A good vast projects with the CTA, and teamed with many good partners, many people on the screen here. It's quite amazing. We are currently a tier 2 consultant, and we're looking to give the CTA our expertise is the structures and rails and stations. So we're looking forward to teaming on projects in our strength areas together with GECs and the DBEs to provide the best value to the CTA. And I guess probably the big point that I have, I don't know if anybody's really touched it, is the whole DBE mentor program works both ways, because I know in my career I've seen it where we bring on DBEs, and the next thing you know, we're working for them, and it becomes a great partnership for everybody, and we learn a lot and work together and provide a lot of good projects. So I guess without much more, just say reach out to us, contact Dan Herring, his name will be at the end, and offer what you can support, and then I guess in turn we'll offer you what we can support. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Matt. Next we have LTK. Is there somebody from LTK on the call?
No, Derek, they weren't able to make it today.
Okay, excellent. Moving on, Michael Baker.
Hi, I'm Solomon Brown. I'm the Transit and Rail Department Manager here in Chicago. Also on the call for Michael Baker is Johan Aecom, our Structural Department Manager. Want to thank CTA for their continued commitment to DBE participation on these projects, and for finding a way to facilitate an event like this, even during the times that we find ourselves in. It's important to continue to maintain and foster these new relationships. A little bit about Michael Baker. We were founded in 1940 and provide professional engineering and consulting expertise for public and private sector clients worldwide. We have more than 3,400 employees and over 100 offices across the U.S. and internationally, and we help our clients by providing services that address key industry issues such as safety, state of good repair, capacity, asset management and maintenance issues, emergency repairs, planning, kind of the full gamut all the way through construction. We, like many of the other tier 1 and tier 2 primes, can do many disciplines, but we look to strategic partnerships with DBE firms to help us fill in areas where we may not have experience directly with the CTA or with a certain aspect of the project. So like others have said, I won't repeat everything that everyone else has said, but it's important to us when we're putting our teams together to start those conversations early in the process before the RFPs are even out on the street. And when we're looking to put together our teams, we're not only looking to match the skill sets needed for the delivery of the project, but we're also very intentional when selecting our sub-consultants, our DBE sub-consultants, to identify team members that fit well with the project location, that are familiar with the community and what the issues that are pertinent to the community are as well. And I also want to mention a new program that we're getting ready to launch. It's called Bridges to Growth, and we've pushed the launch of it back a couple times due to COVID, but right now we're targeting November for the first session. And Bridges to Growth is a program where we'll engage our sub-consultants in meaningful roles that will foster their growth. Bridges to Growth is a robust training program for DBEs. We'll provide learning opportunities for DBEs and veteran-owned small businesses, and not just our sub-consultant partners. This is open to anyone, providing opportunities to learn more about subjects such as client invoicing, client documentation, all the way through drainage design, roadway design, inspection, bridge design, just a wide variety of topics that we think can help to provide better value for the DBEs and provide some learning opportunities for them. So if you're interested in teaming on any CTA projects or in our Bridges to Growth program, feel free to reach out to myself or Johan, and we're more than happy to set up meetings and get to know our DBE partners better. That's all I've got, though. Thanks, Derek.
All right. Thank you, Sullivan. Next, we have Muller and Mueller. Anybody here from Muller and Mueller? Okay, maybe they're having some technical difficulties. We'll move on to SGH.
Good morning. My name is Chris Hewitt. I'm the Industrial and Transportation Lead for SGH in Chicago. SGH is about 65 years old as a firm, started by 3 MIT professors, and the firm's focus since that time has been on design of advanced structures and building enclosures. So the practice of the firm has grown up over that time to be approximately equal parts design and forensics. We do a lot of investigation of projects that may have gone wrong. And because of that, we look for partners that are committed to technical excellence. We're looking for true partnerships with firms that we can develop close relationships with over time and ensure that we're working as close to an active team as possible. So trying to act as closely as possible to as we would if we were all with a single firm. We are structural in nature though, so we do end up partnering with firms for a wide variety of disciplines, electrical, even some transportation services, mechanical, and architecture, notably. As we develop those relationships, we don't have as deep of roots in Chicago as some of the other firms. Although we're a 65-year-old firm, we've only been in Chicago about 6 years. So we are still very interested in reaching out to a wide variety of partners. Certainly DBE partners would be included in that mix as well. We've been very successful developing relationships in that area so far, not only for CTA work, but for other public work and for other work in general for private side. So if you are interested, please reach out. We are very interested in growing our relationships in Chicago and getting to know each of you better.
Excellent, thank you. We'll give Muller and Mueller one last chance. I'm not sure if they're on or if they're having technical difficulties. Going once, twice, and moving back to Jamie.
Thank you, Derek, and thank you to our Tier 1 and Tier 2 consultants. I really appreciate that. We are going to address some of those Q&As that have come in or questions that's come in, but first, I'd like to ask all the participants to take a quick moment to answer these very short questions. I'm going to launch the polling questions. Consultants, don't worry about it. Don't worry about completing it. But for our attendees, please take a moment to go ahead and answer these 3 short questions for us, and then we'll move right along to the Q&A and then close us out for the day.
Maybe this is Oren. I have the poll also up, but it doesn't look like I could click on it and select things. So I don't know.
Yeah, for the panelists, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Mostly for the attendees.
Okay, great.
Thank you, though. Give it another 15 seconds or so, and then we'll go ahead and move along. And just for the consultants, so you'll know, 3 questions just asking about their certifications, their experience of holding CTA contracts, as well as how many years in business, just to give you all a little context around who they are as they begin to reach out to you. Awesome. So I'll leave that up for you all who haven't completed. Go ahead and finish. Meanwhile, I'm just going to go to some of the questions that's come in. One, a repeated question is about the contact list. Yes, as you all have learned, some of the personnel has changed from the agencies. And so we're going to collect that information and give you all a most recent or most updated contact list to include all of the consultants that have joined us today. So all who have registered for this event, those emails will receive the contact list. Another question, I think, Derek, this one was for you when you went through the list of the task orders. Which of those projects are Tier 1, Tier 2? I think some of them you address, but if there's any additional context or content you want to give around it, feel free to jump on, Derek.
Yeah, I guess the easy answer is the answer nobody wants to hear is I can't answer that right now. A lot of those projects are in various different stages of the planning process, so we don't actually know exactly how much money we get to spend on each one of them yet, sadly.
No, and I think, thank you, Derek, for that. And I think that's something that we can all take away. What we heard very consistently from all of the consultants is that if you wait until the solicitation come down the pipeline, you're a day late and a whole lot of dollars short. So this is the opportunity for you to start building those relationships with those consultants so that when these Tier 1, Tier 2 opportunities come down the pipeline, the relationships are built, the conversations are being had already, and then those more specific details will obviously later come. So thank you for that, Derek. Another question that we have is, will a copy of the presentation be available? We will actually send out a copy of the recording if the large format is allowable. At minimum, we will also send out the presentation. We would like the recording just because you can see the introductions and the information shared by our Tier 1 and Tier 2 consultants, which we think would be of more value to you. Another question that we have is interested in learning more about the Mentor Protege program. Does a firm have to be in Chicago, be based in Chicago? No, CTA is unique such that we are a hybrid between federal and local, hence recognizing the DBE, the federal certification. And so we have a little bit more flexibility in terms of geographic, so there are no geographic restrictions. However, we will encourage just kind of right time, right place, where the opportunities live. How close can you be to the opportunity? How close can you be to the mentor and or protege? I think all of those things should be taken into consideration to make for a more valuable and healthier mentor protege agreement and contract. Another question that we have is, are there specific tier 1 and tier 2 companies that will focus on the Morgan, Hermitage, and Ravenswood substation work? And can you identify them? I'll read that again. Are there specific tier 1 or tier 2 companies that will focus on the Morgan, Hermitage, and Ravenswood substation work? And can you identify them? Derek, do you have an answer for that one?
I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer that question. Can we get a show of hands of who's going to be going after that work? I see SGH, I see Michael Baker. I would assume everybody.
Nice. Well, this question is from Jillian Garcia. I think you have the answer. Most of the consultants on the line here may have their eye on it, so you may want to follow up with those appropriate individuals in anticipation of that opportunity. Another question that we have, we are currently a sub on RPM project on which is currently winding down. Not a question, but more of a statement. Are the scopes of the work out for these task orders? And I think I can answer that, Derek. No, not yet. Again, what we're trying to do is just put the ideas on the table, let you know what's coming down the pipeline. You start having conversations with the appropriate consultants, build relationships such that when they come down the pipeline, I think it's anticipated, Derek, fall, late fall for some of these, those partnerships and those relationships, yeah, or later. Some of those relationships will have already, begun. And so when the solicitations come out, you're that much more better prepared to respond to them. Another question, do any of the tier 1 firms have opportunities for supply diversity program consultants, which may include management of DBE, SBE program requirements, reporting, monitoring, and enforcement tasks? So I'll leave that open to the consultants if anyone wants to jump in, if you all have any appetite for a diversity programs consultant. I think while each of them may have their unique diversity program, I think all of them understand CTA and our diversity spend goals, but also our continued effort to make sure that we engage our small disadvantaged suppliers and vendors. And so if not only for CTA, they are very much committed to doing business with the small diverse business community, but most of them have a more robust commitment and programming surrounding their own supply diversity efforts. So perhaps you can follow up with them individually to learn more about what their supply diversity programming is and how you may be able to work with them.
I would just offer that if you believe there's something of value there for us, let us know more about it, and we can see how it can fit in the program.
Awesome.
I know that for WSP, we're starting to take a stronger look at that. And so what that entails, come to us and we'll see, if we're able to do something with you, or because we're a national company, sometimes we're not able to, but there's sometimes if we have local needs, we're definitely going to be looking at it. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for completing the polling questions. Are there any more questions for the tier 1, tier 2 consultants and or Derek and or the small business programs? If not, we thank you all for your time in attending today's outreach event. Again, we will be sending out a contact list for all of the tier 1, tier 2 consultants. We encourage you all to network, to meet and greet with them offline. Have your capability statements prepared. Understand what I also heard from today's presentations from the consultants is do your homework. Use the buy-in plan, go to their websites, find out what other opportunities they're working on. A better conversation to be had is how you can add value to their space and not just saying, hey, I'm a DBE, how can I do business with you? So do your homework, leverage the conversations, reach out to them. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to myself directly. and/or any of my team members here listed. Juan Pablo, the director, myself over outreach, Alexandria over certification, Brittany Bowman over compliance, and China Hampton over workforce. I thank you all again for attending and hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Derek.
Hey, thank you so much.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jamie.
Good day.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take care, Megan.